A true crime YouTuber is charging money for people to view the gruesome autopsy photos.
To get them from the government and not only post them, but then to charge people to see them. Really, they just got no place on the internet.
The things that I think is most troubling about the internet is that people can hide behind monikers.
Controversy brewing in the now closed case.
YouTubers are reportedly charging people to view Gannon's autopsy photos.
Two self-proclaimed true crime YouTubers are facing some serious backlash tonight.
That's sort of vile and disgusting. Like
YouTuber to go to all that trouble to request them, to pay the money.
There is a true crime YouTuber, you may or may not know her, goes by the name of Zav Girl.
I mean, I just find it sick.
Trigger warning, the following video will discuss the homicide of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. Some may find descriptions of the crime troubling and or triggering. There are no autopsy photos in this video. This video is protected under the Fair Use Act for documentary, educational, commentary, and awareness purposes.
It is re-traumatizing. It's hard to, we just finished the trial just over 2 months ago, Brian, and now we're having to kind of relive some of this stuff and not being able to put it behind us.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, what really pushed it over the edge was the charging the money. I mean, obviously posting it alone would be disgusting, but then charging money to see those photos, it's really, really just awful.
The word I used to describe it as evil, Brian. In my opinion, it's just evil. Like, the world got enough information from the trial to have every discussion they want to have. Why do we need to go have a freedom of information request and pay for this kind of information and then dishonor my son by putting these photos out there like that? I mean, the world got to see it. I don't know how well you followed it, but the only day I chose not to come to the trial was the day that they showed the autopsy photos. Now I feel like I can't even go on YouTube without the possibility of accidentally coming across these photos.
July 13th, 2023.
Hi everyone. If you're listening to this, then you likely know about the last few days. I want to apologize to everyone I've hurt, but especially Gannon's family. I've been doing some major soul searching and reflecting. There are many trying to define my motivations, and while I'm not looking for forgiveness or trying to make excuses, I do hope to provide additional context that has not been made clear.
Okay. I'm going to jump on here real quick and ask you that when you're done watching the video, if you wouldn't mind going down into the description box. Down there you'll find two links. One is a link that's kind of like a pre-made letter. It explains the situation that happened with Gannon and what we think we need to do as a whole to stop this from ever happening to another child. The second link is a link to locate your representative if you're unable to. You don't know who they are. If you're still unable to locate them, please feel free to email me and I will help you find them. I think this is maybe one small, tiny thing that we can do for Gannon's family, for Gannon, and in the hopes that this never happens to another family ever again. Thank you, I appreciate it. Bye. 11-year-old Gannon is reported missing January 27th, 2020.
Mommy and Daddy's here. We're begging and pleading for you to come home.
Breaking news right now at 6, an emotional plea from the mother and father of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch, now the focus of a national endangered missing child investigation.
And we want to check in with our Katie Blaze, who's been tracking this story from the beginning when the little boy disappeared on Monday, has not seen since, and obviously another tough afternoon for the parents, and that neighborhood has really pitched in to try and find the little guy. Katie?
Yeah, guys, that's right. The community holding out hope that Gannon will be found. They've been tying up blue ribbons around the neighborhood, Gannon's favorite color, and distributing and posting flyers like this.
I'm Landon Hyatt, Gannon's mom, and I encourage you guys, I know many of you mothers and fathers, I encourage you just to seek, find him. I'm so thankful for all the outpouring help that this case has brought. My son is a very loving kid. He wouldn't want harm on anybody.
March 2nd, 2020. Gannon's stepmother, Letitia, is arrested.
Welcome, everybody. Today marks 5 weeks since the investigation into the disappearance of Gannon Stauch. We're holding the press conference to update you on some significant developments. While we've yet to locate Gannon, this morning, just after 8 o'clock a.m. East Coast time, Letitia Stauch was taken into custody in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina without incident by law enforcement officers from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, the Denver and Columbia divisions of the FBI, the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina Police Department, the Horry County, South Carolina Police Department, and Sheriff's Office. Letitia will be held without bond in the J. Reuben Long Detention Center in Horry County, South Carolina, where she will remain until she's extradited back to Colorado Springs on the following charges. Charge 1, murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age by a person in a position of trust. Child abuse resulting in death. Tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with physical evidence. I cannot stress enough what a difficult time this has been for Gannon's family.
March 20th, 2020. Gannon's body was recovered under a bridge across the country in a suitcase.
At 5, it is believed that 11-year-old Gannon Stauch's remains have been found.
Gannon's remains were found not in Colorado, not in South Carolina, but in Florida, 15 miles north of Pensacola, near the Escambia River Bridge in a town called Pace.
Today I filed new formal charges in the case against Letitia Stauch. Those charges are murder in the first degree after deliberation, a Class 1 felony that carries a potential prison sentence of life in prison without parole. In addition to that, I've filed 8 counts of crime of violence for the alleged use of a firearm, a blunt instrument, a knife or other sharp object, and for causing the death of Gannon Stauch.
May 5th, 2020. Probable cause affidavit is leaked.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Allen, the Senior Deputy District Attorney. I just wanted to share some news with everybody today. The affidavit in the Gannon Stauch case was sealed for a reason. The reasons included to protect the integrity of the investigation as it contained information known only to law enforcement and the persons involved in that investigation. But it was also sealed to respect Gannon's parents and relatives. It was our plan, with the court's full cooperation, to present the affidavit to them and answer their questions before they saw it online or in the media. That is a courtesy I'm sure everyone can understand. Unfortunately, Gannon's parents were deprived of that opportunity because someone allegedly decided to leak the affidavit to the public while it was still under a court seal. The court had sent out a notice to the parties saying that the court would release the affidavit in 1 week's time, but was giving us the opportunity to show it to the family and answer any questions they had before it was released officially. By that night, it was already leaked online. That's how I found out about it. Was I got a call from somebody with the FBI saying that the family just called them and said that the affidavit is online. So obviously that was very troubling, not what we wanted to have happen. You know, we obviously wanted to talk to the family before it was leaked and show them the document and answer their questions, but they were deprived of that opportunity, and that's the worst part of this whole thing, is that really it violated the respect that they should be shown as victims in this case.
May 8th, 2023. Gannon's stepmother, Letitia, is found guilty of his murder.
Parents' worst nightmare is getting a phone call letting them know that something has happened to their child. How much worse must that nightmare be when law enforcement asks not for a picture of your loved one, but rather DNA and dental records? I cannot fathom the pain Mr. Stauch and Ms. Bullard have experienced as a result of the defendant's actions. A sentence in a criminal case such as this will not change the fact that their son's life was taken from them, and no sentence I impose and nothing I say will ever change that fact. You told your husband lies and took away someone he loved. You took away every day that Mr. Stauch or Ms. Bullard could have had with their son. They will never know what kind of impact their son may have had on the world if only he had lived to become an adult. And had Gannon's body not been found, they never would have known what happened to Gannon. They would always have had a lingering doubt about what happened to Gannon. And I cannot imagine the pain and sense of loss associated with that. You betrayed your stepson, and you took his life. You took away everything he was and everything he could ever become. I can't imagine the terror and confusion that he must have felt in the last moments of his life when he knew his life was being taken by someone he trusted to protect it. You knew what you were doing. You made a number of clear and conscious decisions to cover or disguise what you had done. I can imagine Gannon, at some point after he sustained his burns, telling you wanted his real mom and how that comment would have made you angry. You took your frustration and anger for the marriage, the child care, the absence of Al, and even living in Colorado. You took all of that out on Gannon. The evidence suggests you first stabbed Gannon repeatedly, 18 times. Based on the number of defensive wounds, he was clearly conscious for some of that. He was certainly gravely wounded, dying but not dead. The evidence could also lead one to conclude that he either fell or rolled off the bed where you shot him in the head and then beat him with the butt of a gun or a baseball bat. I can, however, say without hesitation that the facts in this case are the most horrific I have ever seen. Your conduct in this case deserves the maximum punishment that I can impose under Colorado law. As such, with respect to the charge of first-degree murder after deliberation, I remand you to the custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole. With respect to the charge of murder in the first degree of a child under 12 by a person in a position of trust, I remand you to the custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole.
And I'll see when I get back. And he's like, okay, Daddy, love you, and I'm going to finish watching Pokemon. Remember it like it was yesterday.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will rescue you.
Was that Gannon screaming? Comparing it to other videos. Read through of Al and Leticia's text. July 2nd, 2023. Live stream done by Zapgirl. The following clips occurred in one 3.5-hour live stream on July 2nd, 2023. Full context has been provided.
In his bed or not, which I think he was, the pillow was underneath his head. When we go over those photos, oh, let me just say this, you guys. Those of you guys confused about the autopsy photos, I told you, I thought I made it clear, I'm going to put them up within the week on my Patreon. They're not there yet. I'm going to wait. Sometime this week they'll be on. So don't worry, because there's some people getting on, like, freaking out, like, where are they? I got an email, like, people are wondering where they are. I'm like, but when I said about that, I was very clear. I said it in about a week, and that was a few days ago. So I said, within this next week, I'll have it up. I'm going to make, here's the thing. Patreon doesn't let me live stream unless if I buy Vimeo, which is $75 a month. I'm not going to buy that just for a freaking one live stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a video, a pre-recorded video, and put it on my Patreon. So that's what it's going to be. So I'll probably record myself, like, you know, maybe like showing them and talking about it and just upload a video. But that's going to be sometime this week. Within the end of the week, it'll be up there. Okay, guys? I promise. Because I know some of you guys joined. I'm not screwing you over. They will be there. I just want to put some time to put it together. If it was just a live stream, I would do it sooner, but I actually have to edit a video together. So, okay. Anyway,
Don't worry, she is not screwing you over. You will get what you paid $3 for, to exploit and dishonor Gannon. And you can also cancel after 1 month.
how many of you guys are interested in these text messages? I mean, how many of you guys were just here for that first part?
The first part Zab Girl was referring to was comparing noises, bangs, and screams to see if it was 11-year-old Gannon when he was being murdered in his home by his stepmother. The trial is over.
Or are you guys interested in these too? I'm just curious because I know some of them were out there, but I don't think I haven't seen anybody have like the complete thing. Like I said, because I ordered these from them, which wasn't free. I feel like they ripped me off. I feel like I don't know. I feel like if I would have just been like, no, I'm not paying that. Like, this should be our, or how do you word it? Like, this should be our right to have these copies. Like, I'll pay you for whatever it takes. Like I don't know. Like if it was on paper, like paper. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. I feel like if I would have just like, I could have maybe talked my way out of it, but I don't know. I just was like, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe you can't. I don't know. Yes, Ryan. Okay, here we go. 26. So we have. Oh, like, as far as the I'll say this again if there's any new people that wanted to see all those pictures. Like I said, it's not going to be on YouTube because I'm too afraid that it's against policy. And I was tempted to like try to contact one of the YouTube people that works there and ask them. It's like, if it's for educational purposes, would I be allowed? But I know they won't give me a straight answer. It's so vague. I've asked them other things, and what they'll do is this is probably how they'll answer. Here's a link to the policy guidelines, and they'll send me a link to the freaking YouTube policy guidelines that I've read a million times that doesn't tell you anything. So like, no, I bet it's just going to be a waste of time. So yeah, I'm not going to take a chance, but yeah, so just go ahead and it's Patreon. I think it's like $3 for the lowest tier. You can just cancel after, you can just do it 1 month and be done. So like, no, I bet it's just going to be a waste of time. So yeah, I'm not going to take a chance, but yeah, so just go ahead and it's Patreon. I think it's like $3 for the lowest tier. You can just cancel after, you can just do it 1 month and be done, you know? I'm going to upload it within the week. Like I said, it's not going to be a live stream because there's no way to the way you live stream on Patreon is you do it through another platform. So I would either have to go through YouTube, which I don't want to do because I don't want this anywhere on YouTube. I don't want to risk my channel. And
remember that and everything else you've heard. It will help you determine later on if you think Zab Girl lied in her apology video. And if she did, why?
Or you could buy like a Vimeo for that platform to be able to live stream with it. It costs $75 a month. It's like, dude, I'm not going to pay $75 to do one live stream. Especially because I had to pay so much for these dang freaking files. So I think...
Again with the cost of the files. There are 3 separate times in an hour-and-a-half video that she refers to the cost of the files. Why?
So I figured I'm going to make a video. It's going to be a pre-recorded, and then I'm going to upload it to Patreon. So I know I already said that once, but there might be some new people in here. So yeah, my Patreon, the link is in the description. And it'll be by the end of the week I'll have it up there, okay? But just know it is graphic. I mean, they show like everything. It's really just like I got nauseous. Like I got like shaky and nauseous looking at it. So just, I mean, make sure you really think it out if it's something you want to, because you can't unsee it. That's the thing. Like once you see something, you can't undo it. It's in your head. So just make sure it's something you want to see. And then, Discord. I had one before, Austin. I don't remember what it was. Somebody, one of my moderators way back, I don't even know how to get a hold of her anymore. She set me up one. And I used it a little bit, but it was just like, I guess I wasn't that good with it, but all it was is basically like a chat, right? And I know people talk about it, so I know there's much more to it. I guess I got to learn it. But like what, to me, it just looked like it was like a big group chat and that's it, right? Can you live stream through it? Well, I can look into it, but with this, since I already, people already joined my Patreon and that's how I said it, I'm going to do it through there because people already joined for this. But maybe for future things, yeah. Can you live stream through it? Well, I can look into it, but with this, since I already, people already joined my Patreon and that's how I said it, I'm going to do it through there because people already joined for this. But maybe for future things, yeah. Are you saying that you could use Discord to live stream through Patreon? Is that what you're saying? Well, let me look into it. If it's one of the programs that will let me live stream into Patreon so I could just live stream. Because, like, I really would like to live stream so I could chat with you guys while we're looking at them. But if I don't have that option, like, then I can't. I'm just going to make a pre-recorded video. But if I do, if you're saying Discord, maybe I can live stream through it. I'll see if I can figure it out. If not, it'll just be a pre-recorded. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to record, like, either StreamYard or whatever, record my screen, or, like, StreamYard lets me record. So, like, record my, like, doing a StreamYard where I share my screen and maybe, like, talking, like, actually acting like it's alive in a way and just going through the pictures and making it a video. So at least talk a little bit, and then I might do it like that, depending. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I just, I don't know if I have time. Like, I have so much stuff to do this week that I don't know if I have time to figure that all out. So I might just stick with how I was going to do it. Oh, you can't live stream anyway? Then no, I'm not going to do it like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Patreon and I'm just going to upload it through like a Dropbox. You guys know how to do Dropbox, right? I don't know. Actually, yeah, because Dropbox is like, because here, you see, you need a thing with a link. So Dropbox creates a link for you. So that's how I'm gonna do it. So hopefully you guys will be able to do that. And if not, like Dropbox, you could get the free. You don't have to pay for it. You can get the free version. So just those of you, if you like don't have Dropbox, just like download the free version. If it makes you, I don't know if it even makes you just to watch a video. But you can just, it's a free version thing. It doesn't cost anything. You can watch it. So that's how I'm thinking I'm going to do it. Anyway, all right. I'm going to get going. Unless do you guys want to set it up? Somebody want to set me up a Discord? No, I probably still have mine from before. I'm sure it's still there. I didn't cancel it. I'll have to see if, I'll have to look into it, but it sounds like you can't live stream anyway with it, so I don't know what the point, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it would even be worth it.
What is FOIA versus court records request?
My question this morning was, if this was a FOIA request, why were these photos not protected under what I thought maybe was exemption 6? There are 9 exemptions. Is that right, Jess, for FOIAs?
FOIA, correct. If it's a FOIA, that's right.
If it's a FOIA.
Right.
And exemption 6 protects information that would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. So my question this morning was, why did it not fall under that exemption?
Well, there's a conception out there that these documents were obtained through the FOIA law. That's actually incorrect. Sometimes lawyers will use those terms interchangeably, even though it's really not precise about what's happened here. And so a FOIA request only applies to anything that's under the executive branch, meaning that the judicial branch and the legislative branches are exempt from FOIA law. They have their own sets of laws and regulations that apply. So that's one thing to keep in mind here, because these documents were actually obtained via a court record request in the state of Colorado. So, and it was through a private individual, but because it's a courthouse, it's not subject to the FOIA law. So therefore, number 9 doesn't apply here. What does was the directive of the Chief Justice of the El Paso County Court System. It is Directive 05-01, if anybody is interested in looking that up. And that is what the custodian of records, the clerk of the court in Colorado, must follow. So that's how these got released, because essentially in the Colorado law, in their judicial system, there's a high level of very liberal in terms of providing access to things.
And I'm always pro-transparency, oddly. I'm
Same
like,
here.
okay, yeah, I'm like a very like pro-transparency kind of naturally. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I, on the same page as you, I 100%, prefer transparency over anything else, especially in court proceedings in all courts across the country. So what happened here is that when the office out in Colorado got this request, they looked at it and pursuant to all of their policies and to that directive, there was nothing in that directive that empowers them to withhold these documents. Once these documents became part of the trial record, then they are within the custodian of Colorado. I know there's a lot of talk about, well, it was done in Florida and these were Florida records. Well, that's true that it was done in Florida. This autopsy was done in Florida, and these images were pursuant to that.
That was another confusing thing,
But
I thought. I thought, was this
yes,
a FOIA request in Florida? But no,
yes,
this is Colorado, despite the
exactly. And
autopsy being done in Florida. Okay.
exactly. And so, in order for Colorado to prosecute Letitia in this case, they had to get access to those documents. So, this was like an intra agency type of a thing where the state of Florida provided them over to the DA and to the investigators in order to use for this trial. So, that's how they kind of became part of the Colorado record, because they were used in that trial. So, I know there's different rules for different states. It's all jurisdictional. And Colorado just happens to be a state that, up until now, has always been more liberal in terms of releasing documents.
Very excited she got a hold of these, because she even made a community post on YouTube and said this: "Hey you all, so I got a bunch of Letitia Stauch case files I'm going to be releasing. So there's some new videos and info, and also some videos they played in court, but the quality wasn't the best. So I have the originals where it's not a recording of a crooked TV screen, lol. So if you're interested, keep your eyes out for my videos. I'm going to get them out as soon as I can. There's some that might take me longer, because for instance, all the text messages, I like to read them for you. So those will take some time, but I'm going to try to get them out as soon as I can."
She's had this case file. And I saw something that Grizzly True Crime posted on Twitter, and it looks like the damn thing cost about $412 to pay for the copies of this case file. Now, I have no issue with the case file being gotten by anyone, because if it's public information and it's something that you want to study, I understand, okay? I don't have issues with that. This woman went and paid over $400 for a case file to then turn around and try to make her money back by selling photos and videos of the autopsy of a murdered, dead 11-year-old child. Like, her 100,000 subscribers and monetized channel don't give her enough of an income. She has to then try to double her money.
July 6th, 2023. Zav posts the first drop link in her Patreon. She continued to re-upload it every time the link becomes unusable or is removed by Patreon. A total of 5 times over the next few days.
Now, last night, when I checked this, there was 252 members. Now, overnight, we have 14 more sick, disgusting psychopaths who have now joined her Patreon, because now there's 266. Now, here's her little $3 tier, because for $3, you can watch and entertain yourself with some naked photos of a deceased child. Look, video. This, I don't even know what this is about. This is from yesterday. This is probably her taking no responsibility, like she always does, because she never takes any responsibility for any of the shit that she pulls. And here she is complaining about how the videos that she has on Patreon aren't working, because people keep putting them in another website and sharing the links. So that must be why Patreon is deleting them. No, how about the fact that you're basically selling child murder porn? You know, that's probably the reason why they keep deleting them. Autopsy video, autopsy video, autopsy video, autopsy photos video. She's not taking anything down. She's been being called out for the past couple of days now, it looks like. And these are, how old is this? See, this is from yesterday. Like, this was yesterday that she updated it, I guess. I don't know how Patreon works. But this post at least shows that it's 4 days old. So for 4 days now, his autopsy photos of his poor little naked body have been being viewed by complete strangers.
July 7th, 2023. A channel with a smaller audience begs Zav Girl not to post the video. He created a 3-minute, 53-second video that he tagged her in.
I would like to talk to Zav Girl. This is for you. Zav Girl is a true crime YouTuber, okay, y'all? And she has already maybe done it. I'm not sure during the time of me doing this if she's already done it or not. She said by the end of this week. That could mean the 7-day week, or it could mean today. But Zav Girl is planning to do a Patreon upload that is going to include Gannon Stauch's autopsy photos. Yeah, Zav Girl, this is a very, very bad idea. And the reason I say that is not because I don't have morbid curiosity. Would I look at it? Yes, I would. Many people pay to look at that. Yeah, but you got to also think about you're wanting people to pay to look at something like that. That's a little beyond that, though. The reason I'm warning you not to do this, Zav Girl, is because I think you're a very sweet uploader. You're a very nice person. I mean, maybe you're a little bit naive when it comes to things like this. That's why you really need to listen to this, okay? I'm telling you not to do it because there have been YouTubers in the past that have done the very same thing that you are planning to do or have already done. And not only did they lose their YouTube channel, they were sued in the court of law. Critical K much? Other YouTubers lost their channel because of this thing too. This has been done before and it never turned out very good at all. So I'm definitely just want to reach out to you, Zav Girl, and I mean, you don't have to take my advice or anything, but I'm going from facts. The facts are there have been YouTubers that have done what you're about to do or have already done, and they've lost it all, and they went to court over it. And think about this, Zab. You ask that daddy's permission to do this? I mean, you know what I mean? How would they feel about somebody making money off of their dead child's autopsy pics? You got to really think about this.
July 8th, 2023. Queen Bee's open panel community begins to make noise and gets the situation noticed.
Disturbing. Queen, I'm gonna say, I'm sorry that you had to view it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I wasn't strong enough to view it, and I was just going off of what I had been told from somebody who had viewed it. So I'm grateful to know that you also laid eyes on it, and you are as offended as the two people that brought it to me.
How are you gonna fucking put up a minor's autopsy photos and then charge $3 per view?
Right.
The following is Zavgirl's first response to the backlash. She quickly deleted this community post.
Avgirl was eventually forced to make a statement on her community post, where she says the following: "The reality of the situation is that different people feel differently about this. Some people genuinely think making a video including the autopsy photos is bad, and I respect their opinion and feelings. People like myself think of autopsy photos and the coroner discussing explaining them as interesting and informative, and are able to view it all in a more scientific, detached way. It's just one of those things where it depends on the person. I am not adamantly against taking down the video if people are truly unhappy with it, and I will absolutely consider doing that. But right now it seems there are a lot of people who are acting in bad faith and creating lies for fun and excitement in order to pit others against me. The latest rumor that I've been distributing photos of Gannon's genitalia. I assure you I have not, and his genitalia isn't visible in any of the autopsy photos in the autopsy coroner video. So it's a bit difficult to sort through what's what. When there are other creators who have the same autopsy photos up right here on YouTube for public viewing on their channel, where anyone can stumble across them, and they are not being attacked as I am right now, it becomes obvious that some of this hate I'm receiving is not genuine and is being done for other reasons. YouTube drama gets clicks, and I tend to agree if there are other channels that have been doing this, they should be called out as well. I understand some of you have issues with me charging money on my Patreon for the video, but if I was charging money for the autopsy files alone or something like that, I think I'd see your point. I spent a lot of time and worked hard putting together a video, lining up the coroner's audio and descriptions along with the appropriate part of the photos she is describing, and editing it together to try and make it as informative as possible for the viewer I'm charging for, which I would hope you can agree is understandable. Anyway, thank you to those who have reached out to me with your take on it in a respectful way, who understand this is simply a bit of a grey area as to what is socially acceptable and what isn't. Like I said, I'm not against removing the video and I care what you think, but it's hard to make sense of it all while I'm getting some very seriously unhinged threats being made against myself and my loved ones. And those threats are coming from those who claim I'm doing something morally objectionable. For those of you who are willing to discuss this rationally and want to communicate your thoughts, please comment on this post as I might not see it anywhere else. After I deal with the threats, I will come back and read everything here, so I can get an idea on the best way to proceed based on all of your input is what I'm charging.
This is Rick, and this is Burn After Reading. In Zavgirl's comments, I assume on YouTube, someone wrote, "Hey Zavgirl, would you still think putting up autopsy pics of a child would be cool for science if that child was yours? Your friend's child? Your little brother or sister?" Zavgirl responded, "Yes ma'am, I would definitely be okay with it. Everyone is different, so stop thinking your way is the only way. I respect people who are sensitive to that, but if you're asking me, yes, I would 100% be okay with that."
Social media catches on. Full disclosure, I had emailed Patreon, tweeted them, and spoke in DMs with them. This was my tweet. Two content creators I refuse to promote their names here at Team YouTube, at Patreon support, are actively selling the ability to view crime scene and autopsy photos of a tortured and murdered, not redacted in any way of an 11-year-old child. Remember him this way. Gannon Stauch. Thank you for this report. The creator has been removed. Thank you. Which one? Both of the ones you reported. Please send us a DM if you do not want to mention their names here to confirm. Brian Enton brings it mainstream on News Nation.
To her. She had to pay. They released the photos and she got them. And you can just imagine, based on the description of the way that little boy was killed, what those photos looked like. Zav Girl then proceeded to post them on her Patreon account, which is an account attached to her YouTube page. And she charged her followers money to see the autopsy photos. For $3, you could see little Gannon's body. She was making money off of that little boy's autopsy photos. Autopsy photos of a severely beaten to death little boy. Really, they just got no place on the internet. It was hard enough for the jury to have to look at them. But for this YouTuber to go to all that trouble to request them, to pay the money, to get them from the government, and not only post them, but then to charge people to see them. I mean, I just find it sick. My question, has Zav Girl ever even been in a courtroom or interviewed a grieving family? That's my issue with some of these YouTubers that cause problems. They hide behind their computers. There's nothing detached about posting the autopsy photos of an 11-year-old little boy, and then, on top of it, which I really think pushes it over the line, charging money for people to see them. It is sick, it's deranged, and you should just own up to it. Whoever you are, wherever you live, maybe get out from behind your computer screen, go to the local courthouse, and actually sit through a murder trial and see what it's like for the families in real life. Not on YouTube, not sitting behind your computer and thinking about clicks, but actually go to the courthouse and see what these families actually have to deal with, and then think about how it might feel for them after having to see those photos in the courtroom, to then have them plastered all over the internet, and then be trying to charge people money to view them so you can get rich off of it.
Who are we to judge? Who am I to judge? Well, how about I defer it to Gannon's grandmother? How's that for a start? So, let's hear what she has to say. She writes, "I'm Gannon's Nana. This is devastating. Why would anyone do this? It's breaking our hearts all over again. If this happened to one of your children, it would not happen, so please let our family find some peace. Our hearts will never be the same." This goes out to all families that have lost a loved one. Some people don't have a heart, no feelings at all, so please respect our family. This is a nightmare. Please respect us. I just don't understand why anyone would do this.
Joining me to discuss this incredibly disturbing issue is Michael Allen. He is the district attorney of the 4th Judicial District in Colorado, and he prosecuted Letitia Stauch for the murder of Gannon Stauch. Mr. Allen, thanks so much for joining us here on Sidebar.
Thank you for having me. This is an important issue to talk about.
Certainly. When did you find out that the autopsy photos of Gannon Stauch had been posted online by this YouTuber, Zav Girl, and then, she was charging people to look at them?
On Saturday afternoon, I was reached out to by one of the family members of Gannon's, who let me know about what was happening, sent me a link so I could go and just see sort of what was happening. I wasn't part of the paywall group that could actually access these things, so I couldn't see which picture specifically. But obviously, the family is very concerned about the photos of Gannon being out like this. We took great care during trial to make sure that, one, they knew when we were going to show any autopsy photos. We blocked out very sensitive portions of those photos, wanting to just focus on the injuries that Gannon sustained. But the photos that were actually being shown on these YouTubers' channels were full-blown photos that didn't have any sort of sensitivity attached to them at all. I know that the person that posted them was also claiming that this was sort of a scientific effort, and I find that to just be preposterous. There's nothing scientific about what they were doing. And the fact that somebody is charging for these things, access to look at them, is beyond the pale to me. The fact that people would want to buy access to these photos is also disgusting. There's no redeeming quality about these photos. There's nothing about them that would be educational in any way as to what happened in the case. There's other ways to do what she's claiming to have done, which was to be scientific about it. In all autopsies, there's always body diagrams that are just black and white body diagrams with injuries that are drawn on, as opposed to the full-blown photos. They could have done those diagrams if they wanted to be scientific about the stated goal, which, it's just heartbreaking that the family members have to, again, be victimized by this case.
Imagine Gannon's parents are outraged and devastated, as they should be. For her part, Zav Girl is claiming she did this to do it scientifically, to show people these photos and allow them to see them for themselves. Gannon's mom, though, Landon Bullard Hyatt, posted on Facebook, "Gannon is my child, and he is not an experiment, nor a piece of paper or photo. He is a child. I pray that all that is involved in this heinous act will stop and no longer do this to anyone else. I will not give you any satisfaction. No one deserves this, and no one wants to be in these shoes. You may say that if it happened to you, you may not change your actions. I do not wish this on anyone. I'm sure you would rethink your actions if this was indeed your child or you. The good that I take from this is that good people still exist, and in a matter of seconds, Gannon's army came together. I surely hope Gannon taught you all a lesson. He is the one who deserves an apology. My son, Gannon.
Multiple YouTube communities respond.
How it should be followed, because like anything else, something very good, like a Freedom of Information Act, public documents being able to be accessed by the public. Those are good things. Those are things we need in our country. We want access to the courtroom, cameras, microphones, whatever it may be, so that we can know what's going on in our country, in our state, in our city, in our justice system, in our government. And that is incredibly important. But something good can become evil when people misuse it and abuse it. And we talk about that all the time with media and with access to the courts, and this is no different than that. This is a good thing that someone used for evil.
In an educational setting, like when I worked in the medical examiner's office and we were training death investigators, yeah, we used autopsy photos with forensic professionals to train them what to look for and what things meant. But not to charge a fee and then distribute them all over the internet like this. This is just despicable. It's unethical, despicable behavior, and she's making a buck off a tragically murdered 11-year-old. I mean, it doesn't get much lower than this, folks.
The more people that call these two psycho bitches out, the better. Because this is how you really rally for a victim's family. We can talk about these cases all day long. We're not going to do anything. We're not in the judicial system. We can help. If we find things valid, we can help justice happen. But most of the time, in all reality, it's a very slim chance that what we do here is going to change anything. But this is an opportunity for us to actually make a change in something. Report her channel. Report her Patreon. Report her on social media. Both of them. Anyone who is sharing this naked child's autopsy photos, technically, in my opinion, should go to jail.
Today we have not just one, but two YouTubers provoking outrage, Natasha Cooper and Zavgirl. And that's because they've been covering the case of an 11-year-old boy by the name of Gannon Stauch, who was murdered by his stepmother in 2020. And Zavgirl obtained the gruesome autopsy photos of Gannon's body through a Freedom of Information request, which she, along with Cooper, put in content and sold on her Patreon for $3. And so, of course, with this, people reacted with disgust, accusing her of exploiting this little boy's death for profit and entertainment. And you had Gannon's dad calling it evil, saying that after 3 years of enduring his son's murder trial, now he has to relive the trauma because of these YouTubers.
Basically, what you're describing here is you made an autopsy photo montage where you synced up the photos of a murdered child's body with the coroner's explanation on how they were murdered and died. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I don't know why you think that that's effort worthy of compensation, or why you think that what you did is a good thing. This isn't informative by any means. You're not like a documentary filmmaker that's paying respect to the victims' families or anything like that. The most disrespectful shit ever. Like this is beyond reprehensible.
Worth pointing out that, like, I would assume the reason that she would have been driven to do this and think that it's okay is because, one, she's been desensitized, and two, because the true crime community is huge now. Like, that is such a big content thing that how is she gonna make her content different from someone else's? How's hers gonna stand out? Well, if she has exclusive material. And the fact that you would kind of, even whether she was doing it subconsciously or purposefully, the fact that you would be prioritizing, like, oh, well, people would want to see this, like,
and like getting competitive in a space as sensitive as that, like just being like, what can I get first, and how much can I get, and then you end up making life-ruining decisions.
Split on it, so you might be surprised by that. So I'm not split on showing the picture. She should not have done that. It was definitely wrong, and this is not one of those things that's newsworthy enough. For example, we didn't show the caskets of dead U.S. soldiers returning from Iraq because the government wanted to keep that from the American people so they didn't realize the true cost of the war. This is not one of those situations. This is not some sort of attempt at journalism in that sense. She is monetizing it. This is how she, makes money in doing these videos. Now, having said all that, to me, intent matters. Some people say intent shouldn't matter. I don't agree with that at all. Did she do it like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put this behind the paywall and make some cash out of it? If she did that, I'd hate it, right? Or does she do it as she describes there? I tend to, given the full context of it, I tend to kind of believe her that this is what she does, and she screwed up here. She shouldn't have put an 11-year-old kid's dead picture there. But now, as we always do online, it's overkill. So now she's the most evil, satanic person in the world, and we should all hate her. I'm not as convinced about that.
As a mother, I am horrified. As an attorney, I'm not surprised. I can say that. And as someone who covers true crime with you guys on YouTube, I'm offended. I mean, where's the integrity here? Where do you draw the line? Where are the boundaries? If somebody who has no expertise in a certain area or in any area can just go out there and troll around and get people to actually pay money to see photos of a naked boy. Okay, so now we're talking about a naked boy. What kind of people is that person attracting to their channel? You know, people with certain proclivities to want to look at naked children.
Yeah.
It's
She
horrific.
released, she had the information of, what is it, Shanann Watts and the little girls. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? There was a video that she did. This was obviously years ago, some time ago, when she said that, you know, she was concerned about the so it's like she knows that it exists there, that there's a concern that her channel can be taken down, that there's a risk. What kills me about this whole situation is that her concern isn't about the impact to others. Her concern is about the impact to her channel, to her brand, and whatnot. And that's when you have a red flag. That's when you should be concerned. That is what you call lack of emotional intelligence, lack of empathy, lack of being able to read a room when you walk right in.
That's the second gross piece to this thing, is that there are people that are predators that are out there. We talk about internet predators all the time. So you're providing an avenue for creepy, weird, effed up people to look at this child. It's an 11-year-old boy on an autopsy table.
I'm just going to point to the fact that unless you can prove you actually asked the family first, cross the line you shouldn't have crossed in the first place. I don't need to judge your sincerity for an apology, but I also don't need to because thousands have already, and they found you wanting.
In brutal condition. So she posted these to her Patreon account, which if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's like a membership type thing, a paywall, so you can pay for additional content. So her followers could pay $3 to watch these videos, become a member of her Patreon. She put, again, autopsy photos of a brutally murdered child behind a paywall. I have never heard of something so sick coming out of the true crime community, and it truly infuriates me.
I think the best thing to do, all of us, what we can do is absolutely continue to share Gannon's image as a happy kid, as a loving kid, and the way that Landon requested on the very day on her Facebook post, on the very day that they showed the autopsy photos in trial and the medical examiner went over them. This was her request then. So the best thing that we can do for Landon, for Al, and all of Gannon's other loved ones is share those images as much as we
Listen, kudos to him. I tip my cap to Brian Enton for coming on and using News Nation's platform to bring attention to this atrocious, horrific, despicable act.
Yeah, they are like a family. It was like losing a kid. Who said that? The dogs are like a family. I'm still not, like, I still can't really, I feel like I'm not over. Like, I can't think, it's hard to even think about him. I love that dog so much. I was so close to him. And every time I just think about it, I have to like block it out of my head. I can't even think about him because it makes me so sad. Like that last moment of looking at him, I can't even, oh man. That was like,
Nayla Z, what's happening, Nayla?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We all love our fur babies, and it's absolutely horrible when you lose a fur baby. But can you imagine somebody that can't even get over the last vision of their animal turning around and re-victimizing a victim and posting their autopsy photos? What happened to this girl that gave a shit, that was so bothered by her own animal passing? Where did that compassion go for others?
I'm not adamantly against taking down the video if people are truly unhappy with it, and I will consider doing that. But right now, it seems like there are a lot of people who are acting in bad faith and creating lies for fun and excitement in order to pit others against me. No, people were just calling you out for how gross you are. That's all.
We reported for the past couple days that this incident did happen. Zav Girl apparently was selling autopsy pics, and the internet's going crazy. She's losing subs a lot. Like, I counted like 2,000 already. And today she has updated her community tab saying, can someone please email me the contact info for Landon that is accurate and up to date if possible.
So what has picked up in the news media is something that I was not sure I wanted to comment on. A number of you very kindly tagged me on Twitter when this was starting to go down, and I needed a minute to process rage, to be perfectly honest. And I sometimes fail, but I try not to come at things emotionally first. What happened here has elicited an emotional response in me. I imagine it will elicit an emotional response in you.
I love how she's like, oh, I didn't mean to get the autopsy photos. They just came along with, and oh, all these other pictures are public already. And yeah, I put them on Patreon. because they're, sensitive. But none of that actually matters because you shouldn't be doing this to begin with. You really shouldn't be. You really, 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 really shouldn't be.
What Zav Girl did, in my opinion, is the lowest fucking scumbag thing that I have seen in quite some time any creator do in this community. And the fact that this bitch has almost 100,000 subs and that she's so close to getting her YouTube play button makes me fucking sick.
I'm sorry, but to anybody who's a fan of Zav Girl or that other woman who's running around fighting tooth and nail to defend herself and she's failing miserably, I would just like to say, pump the brakes and go watch other people who know how to do this and actually have a little bit of decency for the families of individuals who've lost family members at the hands of cold-blooded killers.
Has been online selling photographs of a deceased little boy. And any of you, I can already see it now. But wait, we know Zav Girl. Zav's a good person. No, she's not. You don't know Zav Girl. You think you know her. I tuned in and I skimmed through a half a dozen of her live streams and I didn't see this woman say a single word. She literally sits there for 4 or 5 hours straight and makes confusing faces like, while watching news clips. You don't know Zav Girl. But yeah, anyone that's here to defend Zav Girl's character, you don't know Zav Girl. How could you? This woman said all of 3 things throughout the duration of her YouTube career. She sits there, acts confused, she plays stupid, and she invites controversial people to come on and talk crap on her live streams. She provides nothing of value.
There is always one or two. Of course, it is victim child advocate Beth.
So, when it comes to Zav Girl, I know that many of my audience may or may not agree with my statement. Okay? This is going to be one that I'm just going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want. I believe that Zav Girl did the appropriate thing by putting it behind a wall and not making it public for anybody and everybody to preview it. That would have been the appropriate procedure for discussing this. Does she have a right to discuss it? Absolutely. Is it public record? It absolutely is. Now, I realize that a lot of people, this is emotional for them, It's emotional to think that somebody is reviewing a case. We have that right to review those cases. And we have the right, if our audience so chooses to want to learn about those cases and see what we have about those cases, they have the right to learn about those cases. They have a right. Every single one of you have a right to learn about those.
Zav Girl's partner, Juliet AF, makes a response video.
Probably heard a bunch of stuff happening in the past month or so. You probably heard, I don't even know at this point, that Zav Girl is selling autopsy photos on the dark web or something. That she broke into an autopsy facility in the middle of the night, laid down with one of the bodies. I have no idea. I don't know what's being said at this point. Content creator, Zav Girl, made a video about a murder case that showed the autopsy photos from that case. The photos shown in her video were the same exact photos that they showed during the trial for that case. The trial was live streamed to the public. People had actually already seen these same autopsy photos. And those same photos that she used that were shown during the trial that was live streamed to the public, those same photos can still be seen right now, as of the moment I'm recording this, on YouTube on at least 4 separate channels. They're still up on YouTube right now. So, what happened here? Let's look at a headline from Brian Enton over at News Nation, shall we? YouTuber charged $3 to see gruesome autopsy photos of 11-year-old boy. I'm sorry, just reading that, it makes it sound like she set up some weird booth in a back alley with a curtain. It was $3 gets you in. Come on. What the hell? So, no. And here's what I think is a super important correction that needs to be made. So Zav Girl didn't leak these photos onto her Patreon. She didn't upload a file where you can download it and see the photos. It wasn't like that at all. What she actually did was she created an entire video, which is what she normally does because she's a true crime YouTuber. The majority of which she took the audio from when the coroner was talking during the trial and describing the injuries of the victim. So
his name is Gannon.
She paired that with the autopsy photos that the coroner was referencing during the trial, and then she added little annotations and stuff to it so that you could tell what the coroner was talking about as she was talking about it. Comments that she got on the video before the link was intentionally stolen and spread around the internet in effort to destroy her. Their words, not mine, which is what happened. The comments were like, thank you so much. I get it now. I didn't know what the coroner was talking about when she said yada, 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 but et cetera, et cetera. Whether you think she should have done it or not, I hope that we can all agree that what she actually did has not been correctly represented by any headlines you've read or videos you've seen in the past 3 weeks or so, right? But as far as the money goes, so those channels that I mentioned a second ago, the 4 channels that still have the autopsy photos up on YouTube, those are monetized channels. So if you were to go over there right now to see those autopsy photos, they'd be making money from you seeing the photos. Or as a lot of people like to say, they'd be making money off of the autopsy photos. But notice no one's over there on those channels harassing them or even telling them to take it down. Almost like it's not really about the autopsy photos, is it? Also on the topic of Patreon, and this is kind of funny, like in retrospect, Zavgirl intentionally did not put this video up on YouTube. Not even at first because it was going to probably get taken down. I was actually the one that said to her, like, you're going to waste time and effort making this and they're going to take it down right away. But YouTube's really like inconsistent with what they allow and what they don't. So you never know what they're going to remove and what they aren't. But her main concern was that she didn't want people who didn't want to see the photos to like accidentally stumble across them. Like kids, like think of how many parents just give tablets to their kids and they go do whatever. And the kid's on there clicking and looking at God knows what.
Zavgirl's own words in her July 2nd video originally said she wanted to live stream. There was no mention of protecting children who might be clicking online.
Should have known better than to make a video showing the autopsy photos of a child. I can't speak for anyone else, but I will tell you right now that I personally would not have known better than to do that. Not because I'm an idiot or because I'm uncaring or anything like that, because I'm neither of those things. Here's why I might not have known. So, autopsy photos have never been off limits in the true crime community. There was never any general consensus of like, oh, we don't do that here or anything like that. To a lot of people, they're just part of the cases that get talked about constantly. It's like body cam footage or 911 calls or arrest warrants and all of that.
In my opinion, it is very concerning that some do not know it would be wrong if they were posting a child's autopsy photos on social media without a parent's consent. July 13th, 2023, the apology.
Hi, everyone. If you're listening to this, then you likely know about the last few days. I want to apologize to everyone I've hurt, but especially Gannon's family. I've been doing some major soul searching and reflecting. There are many trying to define my motivations, and while I'm not looking for forgiveness or trying to make excuses, I do hope to provide additional context that has not been made clear. I have followed the Letitia Stauch case closely.
It is the Gannon Stauch case, the Letitia Stauch trial. It is very important to use victim-focused language.
And it was actually during the trial that I made the official records request. And it was in El Paso County, Colorado. I requested all the video, audio, and written records. I made no request for autopsy photos. I wanted all trial records, but my main interests were interviews with Letitia. The autopsy photos just happened to be in the files. I spent time reviewing what I received so I could provide more info from the trial. I believe many of my images were already shown during the televised trial, and I saw the photos on other public YouTube channels that live streamed the trial and shared the evidence.
Dr. Ignacio, I've got 147 on the board behind you, and then to help the jury understand what we're looking at here, if you need to reference any of the body diagrams, please just let us know which body diagram that we need to have up on the easel, and then we'll use that to coincide with what we have in the photographs up on the screen. Is that okay?
Okay.
What are we looking at in 179?
So this is the left side of the face. Here's the ear and eye area. This is the jaw.
There were other news organizations that live streamed the autopsy photos. I believe it was an accident. However, the screen was crooked and the photos were not easily distinguishable. Zapgirl says that herself.
I didn't think any of the images were new. These photos were already public, although the video I put together with the coroner's voice was my own creation. I chose to put the video on Patreon because of the sensitive nature of the evidence. Putting the evidence behind a paywall meant added security, and I naively thought they wouldn't be made public. The video I created with a voice from the coroner wasn't meant to be shared outside of Patreon, and I chose not to put the photos on YouTube, a public forum, where the views would have allowed me to make more money, and the photos would be seen by more people.
That is not true. Zab shared her thought processes in the July 2nd video. YouTube would have banned her, and she knew it.
Because the video was placed behind a paywall, rumors about the images not being blurred or being different than what was shown in trial started to surface. No photos shows genitalia. I have made no jokes about the photos. I don't even cuss on my channel, and I would never allow derogatory remarks about a victim. I realized my intentions were not communicated well. My channel style is sort of me hanging out with friends and speaking off the cuff, and I did not articulate my reasons or think my decision through. Because
appears to be an awful lot of planning for someone that did not think their decision through, as she says in the apology.
At this time, my Patreon website has been shut down.
Patreon removed her.
I am not sharing any of the photos or video anywhere, although you can see the photos published on other popular channels. Nothing you see is from me, nor will ever be.
In my opinion, any and all photos or video will be from Zapgirl. She shared Gannon's autopsy photos on the internet.
To those who have supported me and followed my channel, and to the true crime community, I'm sorry I let you down. I cannot imagine the pain Gannon's family has gone through. My anger over what happened to Gannon is the reason I started following the case. I'm not this evil, heartless person like many are saying, but I'm also doing a lot of self-reflecting, and I'm looking into sensitivity training. I did not want to add to the family's loss with anything I said or shared about this case. And it will be a long time before I ever trust myself or my decisions again. The Gannon's family, I have no words that can make this better. No one should have to ever go through what you guys have been through. I am so very sorry for any pain that I have caused you.
Zapgirl was specifically told that it was Gannon that was owed an apology, and that did not happen. At no time did I hear Zapgirl say that she felt bad, that she shouldn't have done what she did. This is the comment Zapgirl pinned on her apology video. After more backlash, she removed it. She did not sell autopsy photos on any site. Many of you were whipped into a frenzy by an envious YouTuber who has already roasted Zab on 7 live streams, propagating lies, trying to raise her own long, stagnant sub count. Why would Zab apologize for a false narrative? Zab had to explain what really did happen before taking responsibility and conveying her feelings towards the family. I see some pretty famous YouTubers blasting Zab for selling content when they all have their own Patreon sites for more sensitive discussions with their private paid memberships.
Was the apology video monetized?
My apology video is not monetized. Sometimes YouTube runs ads on unmonetized videos. I have no control over that. I made sure I didn't monetize this video, so I apologize that they are putting ads on it.
She's just gonna go ahead and move on now.
Monetization is off on this video and has been off this whole time. If you don't believe me after this, I really can't do anything more to convince some of you. You just aren't going to believe anything I say, even when I showed you, but I'm trying my best. I'm sorry. But I think I'm going to move on now. You guys can continue to talk about this, but I'm not. I'm sorry for the pain I caused the family. I had no ill intentions. Although now looking back, of course, I wish I would have thought it out better. But I can't go back in time. I can only move forward and learn from this. I am sorry to everyone I hurt. Everyone who joined my Patreon will be refunded. Oh, I forgot to add. So click on the pic and you can see the whole screenshot and see it's not monetized.
Another one of Zapgirl's responses to somebody in her comments. I didn't release anything on my channel. It was a private Patreon, so it has nothing to do with my YouTube channel. You know, there are some creators who put it in their YouTube, not sure why they are only attacking me. 12 days later, July 30th, Zav Girl returns to her channel behind an avatar and with her girlfriend.
I don't even know how to do this anymore. Hey guys, can you hear us? Juliet, say something. See if
Oh,
you
yeah,
can.
I'm here. Hey,
Testing.
everyone.
Hey, I missed you guys. How's everybody doing? Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. You're the best.
How it's been going on in the true crime world the last few weeks?
Anything juicy? Any gossip?
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't know. I almost feel like maybe I shouldn't, huh?
Yeah, well,
Uh,
you could think about it.
So, I know
I'm
there's
definitely going to address things. I'll say on my channel, I'm going to address some stuff just because it's interesting. And there are still some people, I know what was bothering you was that there's some people who seem to think that you did something you didn't do because there's so many lies going around.
Yeah, you guys
and
were
that
talking
was
about
what-
the whole thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
We're talking about the whole thing with the Gannon autopsy. I do want to address some things and like I wanted to do. I would love to do an open panel, but I am a little afraid just because I'm afraid of like just trolls coming in to like ruin the live stream. Not because I'm
Yeah.
afraid of like you guys having like hard questions or serious questions or coming at me. That's fine. But you know, people could ruin whole live streams by doing like those bombs and stuff. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I do want to answer and clear up some of the misinformation going around about it because I'm hearing so much stuff and I just want the whole truth to be out and exactly what happened and what it is. And so
And there's a lot, like for those of you who like do, like who have been around and maybe you just aren't online that much, like you might have missed some of like the craziness of it. And it definitely took a turn at a certain point where it just got, in my opinion, just ridiculous.
I feel like I learned a lot through all that. And the reason I want to do a video is just to get like, so the misinformation, because there's still stuff like even Randy, I talked to Randy and he's asking me questions like some of the questions I want to answer. And it's just like, no, like that's not true. Or that's not true. Some of this stuff, it's like, it's misinformation going around about it. And I'll take accountability for what I did, but I want it to be what I did and not like lies. You know what I'm
Right, get
saying?
not just blown
And I want
out.
the truth to be out there and people are twisting things and they're just not telling it accurately. So I just, like I said, I'll take accountability, but I want it to be for what is the truth and what I did and not all this other stuff that's got blown way out of proportion. You're going to do a video, you said. When
I want to do a video too, and I just saw in chat some of you guys mentioning Brian Ensign. I'm going to talk about the Brian Ensign thing also, because I have some, I was going to say insider information about it, which sounds way more exciting than it actually is. Yeah, not a good person apparently.
I know
I didn't know that.
disappointed me. Yeah, I definitely.
I wasn't, some big fan of his prior to that, but I always heard other people talk about how great he is, so I was blown away. But there's some information that you guys might not know that I'm going to touch on about him, just to give people a heads up, not to like drag him or whatever, because I'm going to just be open and honest about it. I'm not trying to be dramatic about anything, but.
Darksy, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Brian was somebody that I trusted for my information, my true crime information. I thought he was credible. I thought for sure he fact checks on his cases. But how he handled that tells me he doesn't fact check.
He doesn't.
Because he didn't fact check with me. So the fact that he just ran with all that without fact checking is going to make me doubt his stories. When he comes out with a story on the cases, I'm going to doubt it because I know he doesn't fact check. So that he doesn't. I didn't double check it, but I heard after he caused the damage, after it was done, after everybody's not going to go rewatch his edited version, after he put out misinformation. Probably to cover his butt, somebody told me he edited out some of the misinformation, but the damage is already done. Do you think people are going to rewatch your edited version? Everybody already saw the original version. That's very freaking irresponsible.
Rumors, lies, and truth.
That this is an okay thing to do. Other YouTubers having done the same exact thing and not getting any backlash for it. Like, if that doesn't say, yeah, this is acceptable, I don't know what does. And I'm not talking about, like, little channels where no one happened to see it, so no one was able to get angry about it. I'm talking big channels, like, big channels. So, 10 to Life, one of the biggest true crime content creators on the internet, with 1 gazillion billion subscribers, those are the actual numbers, she did the exact same thing that Zav Girl did, if not worse.
That is not true. I saw that video. There were no autopsy photos. If you know Adrian Jones's case, you know why. Adrian Jones's family wanted the photos of his abuse to be seen. Google his name, but be warned, they are graphic. It's not up to me to decide if I would have put those images in a video or not. The point is, his family wanted those images out there. This is a screenshot that people were passing around that they say came out of Zav Girl's Patreon. I guess they're saying it was a comment that someone had put on her video, her autopsy video of Gannon. I saw the video. At no time were there any genitals shown in that video. I'm really not sure where the rumor came from. I'm also not sure if this is in fact a comment that was in her Patreon, why someone would write that. It may have just been a troll. I don't know. Again, I did review that video. I reviewed it before I sent it to my local representatives. So I know for a fact there was no genitalia in that video. Zab Girl says she didn't charge for the ability to see Gannon's autopsy photos. That is a lie. She made a video, highlighted his autopsy photos, put it on Patreon, and sold the ability for people to see it for $3. Zab Girl in her apology video said that if she would have posted the video onto YouTube, she would have made more money and got more views. That is a lie. She knew if she posted it on YouTube, she was risking her channel. Zab Girl says that she believes that autopsy photos are a gray area. She had no idea that this backlash would happen. That is also a lie. I emailed Zab Girl myself and specifically offered to reimburse her for the file if she would take down her video. I never heard from her, and when I posted that same comment in her comment section, she deleted it. My opinion, Zab Girl's apology was very it was defensive, deflective. She wanted to make herself out to be the victim. Do you understand that you will always now be connected to what happened to Gannon because of what you've done? You come back 12 days later and you sit and laugh on a live stream about all the hot gossip on the internet. This family now has to live with this for the rest of their lives. His brothers and sisters and cousins and grandmas and aunts and uncles, friends, now may at some point come across those autopsy photos. And why? Because you paid $400 for a file and you wanted to make your money back. A lot of us remember when Al Stauch said that he thought what Zab Girl did was evil. But what really resonated with me was when he said that she dishonored Gannon. And I think that's really important to really think about. You know, Al has dedicated his life to being in the military and protecting his country. And for him to say that his son was dishonored, which means to shame or disgrace, I think that says everything about what he was feeling. And I think that's really important for everybody to kind of sit with for a while and think about. Now what? Here's a few recent news stories. I implore you, please go down into the description box and write your local representatives. Please make sure that this can never happen to another family.
The murder of a St. Johns County teenager has sparked change to a Florida law. The Tristan Bailey Memorial Foundation pushed to protect crime scene photos of children after multiple outlets requested them following the cheerleader's
Beautiful young lady whose tragic murder had shaken the community from which she lived.
Tristan Bailey's father, Forrest Bailey, and attorney Matthew Henson were at the state capitol when the House unanimously approved Senate Bill 404.
We were able to push this through, and just last Thursday, the governor signed our bill, which protects the release of crime scene photos of any minor child who's been murdered in the state.
Henson says it makes it a third-degree felony to release a photograph, video, or audio recording documenting the killing of a minor without the permission of the victim's family or the courts.
We thought what better approach than to make this the first big legislative agenda for the foundation. It was urgent because of the nature of her case going on, but we knew it would have a lot of impact for families across the state. I sat down and wrote this piece of legislation for the foundation, and we presented it to the Florida Prosecutors Association. They got behind it, and then we just started calling everybody we could in Tallahassee.
Tristan was murdered by her classmate on Mother's Day 2021. Her family is passionate about advocating for victims and keeping her memory alive.
About Tristan Bailey's legacy, and her name was mentioned a lot in Tallahassee.
And Henson believes this change, which took effect the moment the governor signed it, will help protect the community.
So many children that are now in high school that were in Tristan's class, and so many friends that are still in middle school, they would be subject to having to click on some person's random Twitter profile or some YouTube case that they think they're learning something great about Tristan, and suddenly they're seeing her crime scene photos, and there's no benefit to that.
Rest in peace, beautiful girl, Tristan Bailey.
An update on a horrifying story we brought you last month. The young couple who accused and sued a doctor for allegedly decapitating their baby during delivery has now accused a second doctor of violating.
Good evening, Christine and Russ. You have got to wonder, how much can one couple take? These young parents are now accusing a second doctor of posting pictures and videos of their dead child on social media.
After all of the abuse suffered by this young couple, unfortunately, Dr. Gates continued and perpetuated their abuse by posting both photos and video of their decapitated child on social media, namely Instagram.
The couple has accused Dr. Jackson Gates of taking $2,500 to do an autopsy on baby Isaiah, but they claim Dr. Gates put a full-face picture and organ videos of their dead child on Instagram. Dr. Gates says he was outraged by the death too, and anything he posted was for educational purposes. He responded on Instagram.
Hear this clearly. I will never divulge the identity or disclose the identity of any live patients or even deceased patients that come for my care.
The young couple feels betrayed and believes Dr. Gates used them to increase his own notoriety.
Dr. Gates consciously waived his duty to this young couple and traded his duty to them in exchange for likes and followers on Instagram.
Rest in peace, baby boy, Trevon Isaiah Taylor Jr.
It was just a gut-wrench punch, and we had to relive it all over again.
On May 1st, the light was snatched from this family. A whirlwind of emotions as Justin Webster's only daughter presumably took her last breath on this Henrietta ranch. He says Tuesday might have been the best day they've had since Ivy was killed, but that too was ripped away when Ivy's summarized autopsy report was publicly released without their
I
knowledge.
found out from you when you text me, to be honest, and it was a shock. It's embarrassing to her, and I know it is, and it's frustrating to us as parents. We don't want that out. We don't want people to see that. That's our baby girl.
Report containing grim details about Ivy's death. The family says the autopsy should have been given to them first, not the media. For the full autopsy, there's a 10-day window where law enforcement, district attorneys, and immediate family members can have access to it before the public. That's not the same for a summarized report, though. In 2017, a Senate bill was signed into law, saying a summarized report can be publicly released as soon as it's available. An ME report doesn't fall under HIPAA, plus parental consent is not needed when releasing a minor's autopsy. The ME also has no legal obligation to alert the families when it's finished.
It's heartbreaking. Look, the reason that I filed the original legislation was to protect families. It should have been part of the original conversation, and I think that is certainly a loophole.
The Webster family, continuing to feel like the state has failed them, is now determined to make sure no family has to endure the never-ending trauma they have to live with.
Change the laws substantially because everything here in Oklahoma it's backwards and it needs to stop.
Rest in peace, Ivy Berlin Webster.
Nobody's going to feel bad for you. Imagine what Gannon was feeling. Nobody's going to feel bad for you. Imagine what Gannon was feeling. He had to go through. Imagine what he was feeling. Nobody's going to feel bad for you. Imagine what Gannon was feeling.
Coming soon, part 2. Similar past behaviors.
So today I'm just going to chat with you guys a little bit. I'm not necessarily going to talk about the Kylie case, but I just want to talk about all these people coming out now saying, like, accusing me of saying some things. And I'm not usually a channel to do this, but I feel like I have to at least stick up for the stuff that they're blatantly saying that is lies about what I said. So I just wanted to get on here. I might regret this because I was just going to take another day off, but I've been constantly sent videos of people talking crap about me. And I don't mind if they talk crap about me if they don't like me, but when they're talking about lies, like they're saying things that aren't even true, that's what I don't get. And that's where it's hard for me to bite my tongue, when it's like lies. So I've heard a lot of people saying, oh my God, Zav, I totally lost respect after what you said about Kylie's mom's response. And I went back and listened to it again. Did I say something? Because I know I would never dare say anything mean about her because I feel bad for her. I still don't see what I said that was so awful about, what did I say? Can somebody give me one example that I said that was so awful that these people are like, oh my God, Zav said the most horrible things about Kylie's mom. Can somebody tell me? Give me an example and show me a clip of what I said that was so awful. Because I thought I was sticking up for her.
That video is privated or members only, but I do have the majority of it.